Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So I was thinking it might be a good time to sell some of these mega key CGC 9.8s right now. Just like with some of the all-time high prices you're seeing and some of the price spikes, it kind of makes sense on the surface of things, certainly. So I want to have a look at three big key issues here. First one up, it's an Amazing Spider-Man number 361 in the CGC 9.8. First full appearance of Carnage. Probably my all-time favorite 1990s cover, to be honest. Just so nostalgic for me. Remember this one. Loved this one as a kid. So for Amazing Spider-Man 361, it's come a long way. So certainly now is probably a better time to sell if you have to than like a year ago or something like that. Absolutely. But do you want to sell now? I don't think so for this one. I think we still got this Venom 2 Let There Be Carnage trailer to come out. So I think when that trailer comes out, and hopefully Carnage is just looking really cool, and I think there'll be a kind of a whole nother level to the value. So if you don't need to sell it, I don't think there's any reason to sell it now. Such a cool one to have in your collection. There's 4,146 9.8s in the blue label. So usually I always say like there's over 3,000. When I got into the hobby, there was like 3,600 of them in the 9.8 blue label. Now it's over 4,000, so I got to get used to saying that. A lot of them in the 9.8. An early 90s book, that's when like the peak of comic book printing was pretty much. 25.4% to 9.8 ratio, not too bad. So seeing quite a few sell here in the last few weeks, being that there's a lot of them. A good deal, I think, right now in the direct edition here. I got the direct, and then this is the newsstand with the newsstand UPC code here. In the direct, though, 1,150 I think is pretty decent right now. 1,250 you're seeing them sell for as well. A newsstand I saw selling for $1,895 in the newsstand. So, you know, is it time to sell this one? No, I still think there's probably more upside. You know, you wait for that trailer and, you know, myself, I got a longer horizon, so I'm really holding these for like 5 or 10 years for sure. But if you want to buy now, I think closer to 1,150 in the direct and hopefully closer to, like, you know, maybe 1,600 in the newsstand now. So this book's hot, but I don't think you want to sell now. Yeah, I think there's still more upside and even long-term potential as well with first full appearance of Carnage, Amazing Spider-Man 361. Okay, next one, a really hot book, New Mutants 98 in the CGC 9.8. So first full appearance of Deadpool, Gideon Copycat here, pretty great cover. And certainly Deadpool 3 is coming to in the MCU, is confirmed, basically. So this book's really heated up. It was actually a stealthy great buy last year where the comic book market was getting really hot. Like Ultimate Fallout 4 was doing so good. And this one was still kind of in that $900 range for most of last year. Like if you got a good deal, maybe $1,000 if you wanted it. But only recently with Deadpool 3 confirmed, it's really heated up. So, you know, is it time to sell right now? I don't think so. Yeah, it's an interesting one. These early 90s books, there's a lot of them, and maybe they don't look the best on the census, but I think for both of these books, if they're still really hot, and I think, you know, you still got the trailers for Deadpool 3, and tons of rumors to come out before. I don't even think they're filming it yet, so there might be some lulls in New Mutants 98, but I don't think you outright want to sell them right now. I think there'll still be higher prices in the future. There's a 3,369 9.8s. These look pretty similar on the census. Early 90s comics, heavily printed, the peak of comic book popularity in printing in the early 90s. 19.7% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8 in the blue label. Not too bad at all. Yeah, under 20%. This one's kind of I always say it's a really good one, kind of getting into that investment grade territory for an early 90s book. All right, so direct edition. This one here in the direct, seeing a few sell. I think a good deal now is like $1,799. Saw one sell on eBay for $1,999.99. It was in a new case, looking pretty good. So it was kind of I guess you could say a primo copy with the new CGC case. But Go Collect's got it at $1,500 in the direct. Newsstands, yeah, they were such great buys 2 years ago. This one in the newsstand, I should have got one. You could have bought them for about $700-800 there, but they're over 2,000 now. Yeah, newsstands well over 2,000, I think. I didn't actually look up a newsstand price this morning, but is it time to sell? Similar story to Carnage. I think there's still some pop culture coming out, so if you don't have to sell, I don't think you have to sell. All right, so last one here of just some quick mega keys that are just so hot right now. It's kind of worth going over them, maybe if you should sell or not. An Ultimate Fallout number 4. Certainly a super hot book, a modern comic book. First appearance of new Spider-Man, Miles Morales, who's like so well accepted in pop culture. It's one I've loved. Like, I just wish I bought a few more of them when I bought this one. It's a great 9.8. It looks great on the census. There's 2,478 9.8s in the blue label, which is kind of a lot, but this is like the most popular modern book. So there's always going to be a lot of these popular books. 29.3% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8. It's not too bad at all for a modern book. That's actually really good. It's one that stood out to me as a good 9.8 when I purchased mine for like $360. It was about a year and a half ago. So in the first print now, I think this one, we might be near a bit of a short-term peak where, you know, because just to go over some of the prices here, that one auction that had went about a week ago for $3,155, I think it was, in an auction for this one right here, first print of Ultimate Fallout 4. And a few had, just doing some research this morning, seeing quite a few sell for $3,000. Yeah, like people are throwing them up in a buy it now for $3,000 and they're selling on eBay. So right around $3,000 for first Miles Morales. I think, you know, if maybe you don't have the longest time horizon, I think you could think about selling an Ultimate Fallout 4 right now. Maybe you're lucky enough to have multiple copies or something like that. But, you know, if you do have that long-term time horizon, I think you'll probably just want to stick with it, and there's likely going to be more Miles rumors. And, you know, Miles Morales is so well accepted that there's probably going to be a Miles Morales SpiderMan movie, like a live action type, eventually, you know, 5 or 10 years down the road. I'm not saying I've heard anything, but so if you got that kind of time horizon, this one you probably don't want to sell either. Okay, so I think it's worth it, yeah, to get in there and kind of check in on some of these, you know, probably some of the 3 biggest key issues and 3 hottest comics right now. And yeah, you know what? Even though they're up a lot, if we just conclude up here, see what I wrote down. Yeah, they are still up a lot, but I think Amazing Spider-Man 361 and New Mutants 98 are just, you know, you want to hold them, try and get them in a fair value if you're looking to buy, but I think they're still, you're going to see higher prices to sell at higher prices if you want to, so I think you'll be happy to be patient on those. And maybe a short-term peak for Ultimate Fallout 4 where you could sell right now for $3,000. Maybe if you're a flipper, you bought it for $1,000 or under $1,000, you know, 6 months ago, you want to sell it for $3,000 now. That might work. I think there is a bit of a short-term peak over that $3,000 level for Ultimate Fallout 4 9.8, but long-term, I think that book's really good too. So yeah, I don't think it's really time to sell some of these CGC 9.8s, especially if you have that really long-term horizon like me, over 5 years and maybe even over 10 years. Alrighty, so we'll leave it at that though. Thanks so much for watching, team. I'll see you on the next one.